Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar and for your interest in the certificate in business administration with the School of Continuing Studies at York University. So I'm going to walk you through an overview of both the full-time and the part-time business administration programs. Now, to get started, so my name is Nicole Pereira. I'm the program manager for the business administration program, as well as a number of other programs that I oversee here in the School of Continuing Studies. I am not an instructor. I oversee the instructional team. The purpose of my role is to make sure that students are satisfied with their experience, that students are successful, and to really ensure overall program quality and experience. So I may not be able to answer every single question you may have if you have specific questions around curriculum, but I will absolutely do my best. And if there's anything that I can't answer, I am more than happy to share that at the end of today's webinar. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through and we're going to talk a bit about the university at large. We'll go through some program information about the business administration programs and both the online and live online learning formats, what that means. We'll talk about the schedule, how to register, and then at the end, I will be taking the questions and answers. So just a bit of an overview about York University for those of you who may not be familiar with the school. York was founded in 1959. It is the third largest educational institution in Canada, second largest in Ontario. Many of our departments have world-class rankings, namely the Schulich School of Business, which is ranked as the #1 business school in the world, also our Osgoode Hall Law School. The School of Continuing Studies was founded just 5 years ago and is a very ambitious, very rapidly growing school. So we've seen massive year-over-year growth and are rapidly approaching becoming the largest continuing education division in the country. The School of Continuing Studies at York University is founded on designing and delivering cutting-edge academic programs that are tied in directly with the labor market and where the labor market is headed. So we do a lot of research and a lot of investigation to make sure that the programs that we're delivering are directly tied to job outcomes. We have a lot of faculty and staff, over 53,000 students. This is York overall. Over 12,000 international students representing 178 plus countries. So a very, very diverse and urban institution. Okay, so I want to take you through some high points about York's business administration program. So to begin, the program is offered in multiple delivery formats, as I'm sure you've probably already figured out, and that gives our students a lot of flexibility. So you have options for what best suits your schedule. The part-time option is a great option if you are working, you have family and personal responsibilities, whereas the full-time option allows you to complete the program more quickly. Secondly, we have our instructors all come from industry. This is something that we really pride ourselves on and is really, really central to the work that we do and how we deliver education here in the School of Continuing Studies. So what that means is that the instructors are practitioners, they're at the top of their field, and that really allows them to apply the course concepts and theories that you're learning in class to what's going on in the real world to really make the curriculum come to life for you. It also provides a lot of great networking opportunities for our students. These are a few of the organizations that our instructors work for and have experience working with. So just to give you a sense of the breadth of experience, and you can see there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies, a lot of large firms representing lots of different sectors. So that's something that we find is a real value to our program and to our students. Next up is the condensed format. So as you may have noticed, York's business programs are shorter than many other programs that you may have encountered or come across. So with the part-time program, it's only 5 courses. With the full-time program, it's 8 courses. And that allows you to complete the certificate over a period of 8 to 10 months, depending on which format you select. So next is that the program itself is developed fundamentally by leading industry experts. We have a very robust program advisory council that built this program from the ground up. And what that means is that we have integrated a lot of real-world projects into our program. We don't rely too heavily on traditional formalized testing like midterms and exams. We do have those in some of our courses, but for the most part, we've moved towards project-based work to really ensure that our students are getting that real world experience. And we're constantly looking at our curriculum. Every time we run the program, it goes through program improvements, curriculum updates. This is continuous improvement, continuous curriculum checks for relevancy. This is, again, a few of the organizations that our program advisory committee members work for, just to give you a sense of the type of knowledge that's coming into this program. And lastly, I want to talk about the cohort model. So this is a feature that's really unique to York University. And what that means is that we do not offer courses, we offer full programs. And that means that the same group of students progress through the program together from start to finish. And this has a lot of benefits for our students. It offers stability in scheduling, so you don't have to worry about whether or not a course that you want to take will be offered. You know exactly what your schedule is going to be well before you even enroll, so you can plan out the next almost year of your life without complication. It also allows our instructional teams to work together collaboratively and as a team to make sure that the courses flow logically from one course to the next. And this allows us to really focus on those higher order soft skills and professional skills and to build on those course over course. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, this type of model allows opportunities for our students to build connections with their peers, to build support networks and study groups, and really get to know the people that you're working through the program with. So who are our students? There is no clear answer to that question. Our students represent lots of different backgrounds, of different ages, so a very, very diverse group. Some students are starting out their career, others are changing their career. We have practicing professionals in business who are looking to advance, to get a promotion, who are moving into leadership positions. And the real benefit of this is that it brings in a diversity of experience and viewpoints and perspectives, so that you're really learning from each other and in addition to just the instructors. So it's a very rich learning experience. I want to take a moment to go through a program comparison of the online or part-time offering as compared to the in-person or full-time offering. So just as a caveat, the in-person or full-time offering is now being delivered live online, so online in real time using Zoom, obviously due to COVID-19. So to compare the two programs, the online program is shorter in length. There are fewer courses that make up this certificate and more, 3 additional courses that make up the full-time program. So what that means is that the online program is a certificate and the in-person program is a postgraduate certificate. There are differences here in enrollment. The online program is direct or open enrollment, which means that anyone can enroll. It's based on self-selection. You know, we encourage students to come into the program already having a degree and or 3-year diploma, but that is not required. It is up to students to self-select for this program. Whereas with the full-time program, an application is required, and the application would include transcripts and language assessment scores at a minimum IELTS of 6.0. This is a competitive process. We do get hundreds of applications every single semester, every single time we run this program, and we run it 3 times a year in the fall, winter, and spring semesters. And so it's really important to put your best foot forward, to really pull together a strong application, given that there is such high demand for the program itself. Now, this is a sample in-person, now live online schedule. So the program will meet, the students will meet 4 times a week for 3-hour blocks. So each courses are run in pairs. So out of the 8 courses that you'll be taking 2 courses at a time. Those 2 courses are delivered over a period of 6.5 weeks for a total of 13 sessions. So for example, on Mondays and Wednesdays, you may have marketing. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you may have human resources management. The course times will stay the same. So whether it be 9 to 12, 3 to 6, that will remain consistent for the duration of the program. And as I was mentioning, because of COVID-19, these courses are running live online via Zoom, and that will be between September and December. So as you've probably heard, the Canadian government has approved international students to complete up to 50% of their academic program online without having any impact to the postgraduate work permit. So this kind of live online format and delivery option really allows for our students to have the closest experience possible to what a real in-class face-to-face experience would look like. So you'll be interacting with your instructor and your peers in real time. You'll benefit from small group discussions, interactive polls, videos. A lot of investment and time has gone into redesigning our program to optimize the Zoom platform and live online delivery. So I think you'll be quite pleased with what we've managed to pull together. Now, this is an example of a sample online schedule. So this is not a real schedule. This is just here for the sake of example. So in the online program, you will complete one course at a time. The courses don't run in pairs. One course will start and then end, and then the second course will start and end, and so on, for the total of 5 courses that make up the certificate. So unlike the live online full-time option, in the part-time online option, the courses are not running real time, which means that you can go online, you can log in any time of day, any day of week that works for you, and complete the required work and the readings and the activities at your own pace. Now, that said, of course, there are deadlines, there are due dates, but within the kind of loose framework of those deadlines and due dates, it really is up to you how you want to spend your time, and you can work that around your personal and professional schedules. So just an overview here, comparing the differences and the similarities between the full-time, typically face-to-face, but now live online option, and the traditional online option. So both versions are instructor facilitated, which means that there is a live, living, breathing instructor behind your course, and that you can connect with and reach out to at any time. In the online program, as I said, it's not in real time, so you won't see them kind of face-to-face via Zoom, but they are there, and so you can connect with them when you need, should you have any questions or concerns. And the instructor will be going in and out of the course typically every single day, and responding to students and commenting and kind of pushing the course forward. In terms of hours of commitment, as I've gone through, the live online full-time option has 12 hours of in-class time, plus, of course, the additional assignments and reading outside of class time. For the online course, we're looking at about 8 to 10 hours of effort per week. Live online is 2 courses at a time. Online is 1 course at a time, as we've mentioned. The live online full-time program, although it is longer, it is actually shorter in terms of the overall completion time. So you will finish the postgraduate certificate within 8 months. For the online version, it's a bit longer because it is part-time and the courses run one at a time, and so that will take 10 months to complete. Both have assignments and activities, likely group work and interactive activities that you may do live, or you may do kind of in groups outside of class time. As we've discussed, there's an application required for the live online, no application required for the online. And the last bit we've already talked about. So again, with live online, you have regularly scheduled Zoom sessions. You're meeting at the same time, on the same time and day, according to your regular schedule, whereas with online, there are no live sessions. Okay, so what I can do now, assuming that this actually works, is take you to the website and walk you through how to navigate our courses here. So here we have the online certificate in business administration, and just a few points of interest that I want to bring to your attention. So down here is where you can find information about transfer credits. If you feel like you might be eligible for advanced standing, this is where you can learn about what that requires and what's needed. All the information is here for you. This is another interesting tab here, instructors. I do encourage you to go through this if you have the time. I think it's really interesting to know, who is going to be teaching your classes. We're very, very proud of our instructional team. So again, a lot of information here that you may find interesting. And then if you scroll down beyond that, our program policies. So if you click here where it says program policies, it will take you to another tab. And this is where you can find information here under continuing professional education on payment policies, refund policies, withdrawal policies, academic integrity, and so on. So let's take a look now at the Oh, actually, one other thing I wanted to show you before I move away from the online program is when you're ready to enroll, click on this Enroll tab here, and you can see what the options are that are currently available. So we have the fall online program starting in September and going until July 2021, and the online program that starts in the winter semester in January and runs until November. So let's say you decide to take the one in the fall, click here, and you can see all of the courses. You can see the schedule, so you know when each course starts and ends. You can see the course descriptions and so on. So looking now at the postgraduate certificate in business administration, this is the full-time program currently live online via Zoom. It's laid out the exact same way. So again, if you scroll down here, you can read about transfer credits. You can look up the instructors. Again, if you click on program policies, it will take you back to that tab that we saw before, where you can read about withdrawal policies and refund policies. And again, up at the top here under enroll is where you can see the program offerings. So we have different rates, different tuition rates for domestic and international students, as you can see. So if you're an international student, this is where you would click here, and that would be the September to April or fall intake. And then down here is the January to August winter intake. So I should be back to the presentation. One thing I did want to bring to your attention is if you have any questions and want some advice or some direction on your career path, Michael Kosiba is the Continuing Studies Advisor who is assigned to the business programs, and you can reach him at continue@yorku.ca. Donna Khan is the registration coordinator, and you can reach the registration team at SCS for Registration School of Continuing Studies at yorku.ca. We are doing online and telephone advising appointments, so we're still more than happy to hear from you and take your questions in these strange and wonderful times. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the presentation. So I'm happy to start taking questions. Do we have a summer intake? Okay, so Marie, we do have a summer intake for the full-time live online postgraduate certificate option. At this time, we do not run the part-time online certificate program in the summer. We run it in the fall and the winter semesters in September and January, respectively. So whether we will offer that program in the summer next year is, I guess, to be determined based on demand and based on enrollment. When will the decisions start rolling out? So I'm assuming that by decisions, what you're talking about is the acceptances for the international students and for the domestic students who are taking the full-time postgraduate certificate program, because that is the only program that has the application process, like I mentioned. So the acceptances for the fall semester, the fall intake, have gone out already. Probably for the winter semester, we'll start looking at those in about a month. But we haven't started reviewing the applications for winter yet. I believe we just opened winter enrollment within the last couple of days. So we want to give people time to get their applications in. So that will probably be the timeline for that. How do group activities work for the online certification? That's a good question, and it depends on each course. So in some of your courses, you may not have group work. Typically, though, in our programs, we do have group work, and so that would be arranged by your instructor. They would either decide the groups, or you would decide your groups. That depends on the course, and that just depends on instructor and student preference. And then how you work together would be determined probably largely by the group. So you can, of course, meet online. You can meet over Zoom, over Microsoft Teams. We don't recommend that you get together in person to work together, but certainly there are lots of ways for students to collaborate virtually. So that's how we would organize that. For the textbook, okay, so the question is, for part-time, are there only digital books? No, not necessarily. I believe there are digital copies of all of our textbooks. Not every course has required textbooks, but it is important to make sure that you have some finances set aside in the event that you do have textbooks. Probably a reasonable amount to put aside would be about $100 to $150 per course. That's probably on the high end. At least one of the courses does have a simulation, and so students have to pay, I believe, a fee of about $30 to $40 to participate in the simulation. But in that course, I don't believe there are textbooks, so there are some cost savings there. Will the program in 2021 be all face-to-face? or mixed with online sessions? Okay, so this is an interesting question. There's a lot that we don't know with COVID. I expect that well, obviously the online certificate will be online regardless. For the full-time face-to-face certificate, the postgraduate certificate, it will likely be online to start. So likely the first half of that program will be online, the same way that the first half of the program that's starting in the fall is going to be online. Now, because there are international students in these programs, and they do need to complete the second half of their program face-to-face and in person as per current government directives, it's probable that the second half of the program will be delivered face-to-face. Currently, we have provisions available if students are uncomfortable with the face-to-face delivery model, and so there are options for students to defer without penalty. How many students can be enrolled during the part-time studies? Okay, so I think that means how many students can be enrolled in the online course or the online program. Typically, we have no more than 50 students in an online course. We're looking at the possibility of breaking the group into two smaller groups because enrollment is quite high at the moment, but I would err on the side of approximately 50 students. That's what we've typically had in the past. So the next question is, if I get accepted for fall 2020, what happens if I don't get a study permit, as all of the visa offices are closed in India? So my recommendation is to not begin your studies, obviously, until you have a study permit. I think you will require a study permit in order to begin your studies, but that's definitely something I would recommend connecting with York's international department on. So if you Google York International, they have immigration agents who can support you and answer very detailed questions about visas and study permits and postgraduate work permits and immigration and all of those very complicated topics. So I would definitely advise reaching out to York International. So there's a lot of questions coming in here, so I just want to make sure that I'm catching everything. Okay, so we have a question here about what happens if you fail a course. So if you fail a course, you'll need to redo that course. And our courses run quite regularly. So as I was saying, we have 3 intakes of the business full-time program a year and 2 intakes of the online program a year. So you would just pick that course up with the next available section. But the courses aren't prerequisites for each other, so there's no reason for you to have to stop your studies or pause. You can just keep going with the subsequent courses, and that should not be very disruptive. So the question is, if the situation prevails, so obviously if COVID continues to be a serious disruptor, will the entire full-time program be executed live online? Because that will affect my chances for a work permit. So what I can tell you is that we will absolutely not deliver this program in a manner that will compromise or potentially have negative consequences for the postgraduate work permit. Any delivery modality that we select, we will confirm with all levels of government that it is compliant and fully compliant with postgraduate work permit requirements. So of course, we don't know if the government will later change the requirements and allow the full program to be delivered live online and still meet all of the work permit requirements. Currently, that is not the case, and so we are keeping an eye on that and running our programs accordingly to ensure that international student postgraduate work permits are not compromised. Is there an application fee? There is an application fee. I believe it's $75. It might be $79. I forget the exact amount. It is non-refundable. How will the exams and assessments be conducted in online learning? Okay, so we do not use Examity at the moment. We don't use online proctoring services. When COVID originally hit, we were using them, but we've decided to move away from them. I don't know if we would consider using them again in the future, but as of the current moment, we are not using online proctoring. So what we've done is we've minimized the number of exams and midterms that we offer and that we have in our courses, because that really helps us to maintain the academic integrity and the credibility of our certificates. And it's really important that that we maintain that quality in the industry and obviously for our students and graduates and alumni. So a lot of our coursework is case-based. It could be case studies, group work, presentations, analysis, papers. It's not really heavily relying on exams. And so that's to answer your question about how that would be conducted in an online mode. For the exams and midterms that we do deliver online, you'll receive those exams through your online course. They'll open up at a certain time and then they'll close at a certain time. And that will all get submitted through the learning management system. Can I change between the online certification and the full-time certification while I'm studying? That's a really good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. I suppose that you could. I'm not sure why you would want to. It might cause some complication, or it would cause some complication in scheduling. It would also be a bit disruptive because ideally you're going through your program with the same peers from start to finish. So Faye, if that's something that you're interested in, maybe we could connect after the webinar to figure out why that might be something that you would want to be considering. But I would definitely recommend, choosing which option you prefer and then just sticking with that. When will acceptance letters start coming for the fall session? They've largely already gone out. If you have not received a letter of acceptance for the fall offering of the Business Administration Postgraduate Certificate, my assumption is that you probably have not been accepted into that program at this time. And so I would recommend moving your application forward to the winter semester. Not surprisingly, the fall semester filled up very, very quickly because a lot of students who were planning to start in the spring semester deferred their enrollment to the fall semester. So there's a bit of a bubble that's going through the program at the moment that's really putting a lot of demand and pressure on our programming. Okay, so during the online part-time programs, are there any live sessions or seminars that you will need to attend? So the quick answer to that is no, Aretha, you do not need to participate in any live sessions as part of the online part-time business administration certificate. The instructors occasionally will do some optional live online Zoom sessions. So often we see that in our accounting course where students want a bit more hand-holding. They want to talk to the instructor in real time and ask them questions, maybe work together as a group. So there will likely be some optional live online sessions that you can participate in if you choose to, if that would be helpful to you. But that's not mandatory and that's not considered a required part of your program. I think that brings us to the end of today's webinar. So thank you so much for taking the time to participate. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for all your questions. I hope I answered them to your satisfaction. There were a lot of them, but that's really great. It shows that you're engaged and you're really thinking about your future and making hopefully the best decision for you, taking in mind your career goals and your professional aspirations. So we are here for you. Again, you have my contact information. You have the contact information for the registration team. For those of you who are international students, I really do advise reaching out to York International. They have their own website. They are really in the best position to provide you with any immigration related information. And yeah, and it's been great. I really enjoyed connecting with each of you. So thank you very, very much for your engagement. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the weekend. Have a good one.